Hi everyone, this is the tutorial for the birch tree digital paintings. So I will be using Pixlr, but remember you can use whatever digital art making app you would prefer. So in beginning, I'm going to make my brush the largest I can, not the soft edge, although it wouldn't really matter if you did, although it might just take a little longer to build up your background. And then make sure your opacity is at 100%. Sometimes Pixlr saves our settings from when we're working on previous projects. You're going to go in to create your paper, canvas, whatever you would like to refer to it as, with all white. Okay. Now remember, in our birch tree PowerPoint, which you can access in the assignment page, there is the aerial. I call it the aerial view. Because it's looking at the sky, but it's that intense perspective versus the linear, straightforward viewpoint of the forest, where you see the trunks of the trees in a more linear up and down formation. Okay, so we're going to start with the perspective angle. So I'm going to find my brush. Remember, it's always good to experiment with different brush sizes and kind of get a feeling of which one works best for you. It's all about trial and error. And find a blue that works well for the sky. And you can just kind of go through and create sky. The soft brush adds nice soft edges if you're going to create a cloud effect. If you feel so inclined to do so. I kind of like to just stick with a blue sky since we will be working with the leaves. I think this is nice. Some clouds fun for me to work with. It makes the image more dynamic looking. I think I'm going to add some different values to the sky. And then we can have our smudge tool to help us creating some interesting areas with the sky. I want to go back if it's a bit harsh. Changing the opacity here. And blending out those details. All right, I think that works. I'm using this as a frame of reference to make sure that the area is even. So that's why I'm going in and making some changes because I can see that it doesn't work necessarily from far away. And this little box here is really great for checking what your piece would look like from far away, so it gives you different perspectives, which is always important. All right, so this is the brush size I like to use. I know I'm going kind of fast, but I'm going to create the angles of the trunks, trees going into these directions. I don't like that. So if you make some decisions that you don't like, you can always hit the Edit Undo button. That's great for fixing mistakes. I love digital art for that reason, because it's really easy to go in and edit. You remember trees do not have to be, actually it's better when they're not perfectly straight. It's a more organic shape to work with. Okay, so now I'm going to use my stylus to really flesh out these trees. Okay, I'm kind of making a point here. Remember, we're going to make branches that pop out, and then the leaves are really going to take over the tops here, but this is to help with creating the perspective more so at the base than at the top, because like I said, the top will be covered. Alright, so now that we have that in there, we can give a more defined edge to the tree, so that way we can add our values a bit more successfully. All right, now that this is flushed in here, we're going to, I'm going to get a darker brown. So we're going to create the bark of the tree, and that is something that is a bit darker than brown, but I still like to have some color in there. I don't want to use pure black because it's not as natural looking for the tree. And then I always like to start off with a really opaque version. It's pretty see-through, but it allows us to block in some values and get a good shape of the tree while still seeing underneath it. Okay, so you can block in the ends, may even make the bottom here a bit darker. It grounds the tree, and also looks authentic. So you're just going to create some curved lines in here. As you go over, it might get darker as well. We're going to go in with some finer line work after this, but this is just to get some nice detail in for those birch trees, and they start to look more like birch trees, which is exciting. An exciting part of the project when it starts to look like how you intended it to. I always love the moment in art when you are creating something and you're at that building aspect of it, and you're kind of like, what is this really working? Am I really creating what I wanted to? And then you get more into the detail and you sort of trust your process. And you're like, whoa, this is really what I wanted to make. This is cool. So I found that once you're done with the middle part, getting that darker edges on the side really make the form pop off the page. Alright, so I'm going to turn up the opacity here. Define those edges. And then we're also going to be using this darker version of the brush to create our branches that are coming out at the top. Then we'll get into the really fun stuff with the leaves. Leaves are when we add those bright fall colors. It really brings it to life. So you can start to create branches. They come out over. You can leave part of the area at the top blank. I know it looks sparse and strange, but there will be leaves there that will really take up a majority of the composition up in the sky. A lot of this blue is going to start to disappear. The branches are going to get covered up, but it's always good to create a nice set of branches. Better to be safe than sorry sort of a situation. Make some branches coming out of the middle there to give it some form. Out at the top there. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. You can always add in some details, and might want to take a step back and walk away and then come back later.